Hello friends, this is Professor Pratap N. Shinde. Welcome you back for the lecture series of Engineering Mechanics. So now we are in fourth lecture. The fourth lecture is Analysis of Truss and Cables. So contains definition of truss, types of truss, analysis of truss. There are the two methods for the analysis of truss. So the first method is method of joint and second method is method of section. After this we have to analyze the cables. Introduction. The problem in the preceding units concerned the equilibrium of single body and all the forces involved were external to the rigid body. In previous 3 units we have solved some numericals as well as we have studied the different bodies which are subjected to only external forces. Now here we are going to solve the numericals of truss and cables where the parts of that particular members are subjected not only the external forces but also the internal forces. So in this unit we have to consider the equilibrium of structures of several units. These problems not only to find out the external force which is acting on the structure but also find out the internal forces which hold together the parts of the structure. Now truss. Now if you observe this particularly this member, so if you find out where you have observed this part, any idea? Yes, you observe such type of structure in railway station. So at railway station it is used to support the bridge slab. So there are the different types of bridges are there, deck bridge, through bridge. So in order to support the slab of that bridge, so we require this type of structure. This is known as a truss. Also, if you visit the college gymkhana at where in order to support the sloping sheets of roof, so in that case this type of structure is used. So this is known as a truss. So this truss is supported at its end by the different types of support. So here the truss is supported, one part is on roller and here is hinge support. Designed to support loads, usually stationary, fully constrained structure. So it consists of only straight members connected at joints located at the ends of each member. Truss is held in position by supports, so we have already discussed, and loads are applied at joints only. So here we have applied the loads. This load is applied only at a joints like joint H, G, F and E. You can apply the load only at a joints. You cannot show the loads anywhere onto the member. So this is a wrong. Okay. So load is applied only at a joint. Each member of this truss is subjected to either tensile force or the compressive force. Okay. Now there are the different types of trusses. The trusses are used to support the bridge deck and sloping roofs. Therefore they are classified as bridge truss and roof truss. So there are different types of bridge truss and roof truss are here I have shown, and this is the roof truss, pad roof, pink, howe, warren and king post. So these are the different types of roof trusses. Now analysis of truss. Analysis. What is meant by analysis? This is main concern. Analysis is nothing but what are the forces are coming over the structures that we have to find out. That is known as a analysis of structure. What are the internal as well as external forces acting on that structure that we have to find out, that is analysis of structure. So there are the three different types of trusses. The statically determinacy of the truss can be checked by the formula m is equal to 2j minus 3. When m is equal to 2j minus 3, then that truss is known as a perfect truss, where m is the number of members. In previous slide, so these are the members like AH, AB, HB, there I can say that N, so GN, GF, NF, so these are the members. So M indicates the number of members and J indicates the number of joints. Here H is a joint, B is a joint, A is also joint, F is a joint. So these are the joints. When M is equal to 2J minus 3, if this equation is satisfied, then it is known as a perfect truss. When M is greater than 2J minus 3, then it is known as a redundant truss. And when M is less than 2J minus 3, it is deficient truss. म्हणजे काहीतरी कमी आहे याच्यात आणि हे redundant म्हणजे जास्त आहे. Number of members is, and this 3 is appear from the equation of equilibrium. So there are the three equations of equilibrium for non-concurrent force system, therefore this 3 values appear. Okay, got it? So m is equal to 2j minus 3 is the formula to find out the type of trusses, statically determinacy. In order to check the statically determinacy, we have to use this formula, where m is the number of unknowns member force and j is the number of joints. The degree of determinacy is determined by the formula I indicates the degree of indeterminacy. So m plus 3 minus 2j indicates the degree of determinacy. So this degree of determinacy is required you in second year and third year level. If it is a statically determinant, if truss is m is equal to 2j minus 3, then we are going to solve this problem by using the equation of equilibrium. Otherwise it is not possible. If the truss is redundant, then we cannot able to find out we cannot analyze the truss by using the equations of equilibrium. Therefore we must have to check before solving the problems whether the truss is statically determinant or indeterminate. So there are some assumptions while solving the numericals. The member of the truss are connected at the ends by frictionless hinges. So two members, when there is a connection in between these two members, they are connected by the help of frictionless hinges. Here is frictionless hinge. The loads act only at joints, that we have already known. Self weight of the member is negligible. This is the important thing. Self weight of the member is we don't have to consider. Members are having either uniform cross section throughout, or if they are having varying cross section, the centroid is located along the same longitudinal line. The centroid of that particular member is located along the same longitudinal line. So method of analysis. There are mainly two methods of analysis. First one is the method of joints and another one is the method of section. So these two methods that is available in our syllabus. So we are going to solve the numericals by using method of joints and method of section. When to use method of joints and when to use method of section, that we are going to elaborate afterwards. Now if you observe this is the one of the example of truss. So this truss is known as a cantilever truss. Why it is called as a cantilever? Because its one part is fixed and this other part of this truss is free, or there is no support at the another end of this truss. So therefore it is known as a cantilever truss. If you observe the balcony of any building, so the same type of structure is there. So there is one part is fixed and another part of that balcony is hang like this. This balcony is like this. So this is known as a cantilever. This is cantilever beam and this is cantilever truss. Now here in this truss I have shown the forces in internal member. When the two arrows which are appearing towards each other, here the two arrows are appearing towards each other, so it indicates that there is a tension in that member. So this is notation we have used for the to show the tension in the member. And if the two arrows are away from each other, they are going away from each other, these are the two arrows which are going away from each other, so it indicates that this member is in compression. So all here I have shown the members are in tension and this member is in compression. This arrowhead indicates that we can apply the load at these joints. So got it? So how to show the tension and how to show the compression. Arrows approaching towards each other indicates tension in the member. Arrows are going away from each other, we have there is a compression in member. Dear friends, remember that while solving the problems you have to assume either compression in each member or you have to assume tension in each member of the truss. So during solving the numericals we have assumed tension in each part of the truss or each member of the truss. When we have to draw the free body diagram of each member joint, so in that case we have to assume that each member is in tension. If your answer is positive, so it indicates that assumed directions are correct. If your answer comes out to be negative, so it indicates that whatever the nature you have assumed, so that will be the wrong. So instead of tension it will be compression, because we are going to assume all the members are in tension. So when we get the negative answer, it indicates the your member is in compression nor in a tension. If positive, so it indicates the assumed directions are correct, members are in tension. Got it? Okay, come towards the next slide. So how to solve the problems of method of joints? So this is very simple. So we are going to discuss this part later on. Okay, while directly solving the numericals we are going to discuss this part. So only 3 steps you have to remember, and that we are going with the help of these 3 steps we are going to solve the numerical. This is very important and very interesting concept. So if there is a truss, and which is subjected to different forces, on different members, so in that case when it is asked to you find out the forces in each member of the truss, so in that case whether we have to go for the total analysis or there is some logic in order to find out that some members are not considered any forces. Yes, so if you remember all these points, you are able to find out the members which carry the zero force. Suppose any cantilever truss is there like this. If this is cantilever truss, okay, and this truss is having the different joints. Let's say this is truss, and which is subjected to force over here and the force over here, and I can say that it is cantilever truss. It is cantilever truss. Okay, so in that case we have to find out, when the problem is going to ask like this, if there is load is given, let's say 4 kilonewton, and this load is given 6 kilonewton, and they have asked you to find out the forces in each member of the truss. So there are how many members in this case? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, and this one is 11 members are there. So whether we have to go for the analysis of 11 members, if it is to do the analysis of 11 members, so it becomes cumbersome. So we are having some logics or some concepts. From that we can identify here the some members are zero force member. Okay, so what are that logics that we are going to discuss now? First, when two of the three members meeting at a joint are collinear and no external load is acting at that joint, then the force in the third member is zero. So collinear means along the same line. If there are the two members, when two members are meeting at a joint are collinear and no external load, so these two members are these two are collinear and this is third member, and let's say at this joint there is no any external force is not there, external force is not present. Okay, so in that case this third member is becomes your zero force member. Like this also, these two are collinear and this third member is zero force member when there is no external load at this particular joint. Like this also, there is no external loads, so this member is your zero force member. So got it? Yes or no? So again, second, when two members meet at a joint where there is no force is acting, then the forces in each member is zero. Means when there is a two members only and there is no any external force at that particular joint, no external force will be there, so that both the members are zero force member. म्हणजे असा जॉईंट आहे की त्या जॉईंटला एखादा एक्सटर्नल फोर्स नाही आहे, सो त्या जॉईंटला फक्त दोनच मेंबर असतील, मग ते दोन मेंबर काय असतात? नेहमी झिरो फोर्स मेंबर असतात, जेव्हा त्याच्यावर काही त्या जॉईंटवर एखादा एक्सटर्नल फोर्स नसेल तर. सिमिलरली दिस जॉईंट ए not subjected to any external force, so it is zero force, both are zero force, like this also. So these two are the zero force member. Now comes toward the third slide. When the two members meet at a joint, there is support such that support reaction is collinear with one member, then the force in the other member is zero. So let's say this is a roller support and this is load. So and this is the third member. When these two forces are there, this force will be balanced by this reaction. Therefore, the third member is not carry any force. Got it? So if you observe this particularly this. Okay. So in that case also you can able to find out the zero force member. If this vertical force is there, so this force will be balanced by this member. So these two are the, we can say that, zero force member. Okay. So thanks for watching.